Discover how this millionaire's incredible mistake led to an unexpected life-changing moment. Jack Thompson stood atop a hill overlooking the town he once called home, an empire of glass and steel shimmering in the early morning light. His heart raced with the thrill of success, yet gnawing emptiness lingered, gnawing at him like a persistent itch. He felt like a ghost in his own life, chasing recognition yet feeling utterly alone. Memories of summer festivals and family barbecues faded under the weight of his riches. There was a time when he'd stroll the streets, wave at friendly faces, and feel the pulse of his community, but now he transformed his childhood home into a luxury resort, while his old friends struggled to make ends meet. Emily, a devoted single mother, fought valiantly to keep her bakery afloat, a lifeblood of the community that shared stories and dreams with every loaf of bread. Meanwhile, Jack's plans loomed over her like a storm cloud. He envisioned grand celebrations, glittering events, yet failed to see the devastation looming before him. How could he, a millionaire with everything at his fingertips, realize that wealth can't buy the heart and soul of a town? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As whispers grew louder among the residents, Emily rallied her neighbors, igniting a spark of resistance. Their shared history flickered to life beneath the old elm tree, where countless memories had been both forged and celebrated. Jack, blindsided by the confrontation, felt as though the ground was shifting beneath him. The anticipation of his gala, designed to dazzle and distract, felt dim in the face of the truth. They felt unseen and unheard. When a vicious storm swept through, uprooting lives in mere moments, it knocked the wind from everyone's sails. In the aftermath, Jack and Emily found themselves picking up the pieces together. That's when it hit him. She wasn't just a rival amidst his ambition. She was a reflection of a community resisting the allure of wealth over genuine connection. As they worked side by side, Jack began to question his values. The laughter of children playing, the scent of fresh baked bread, it all hung heavy in the air, nourishing a sense of belonging he had long ago sacrificed. But doubts lingered like shadows in his mind. Had he missed too many chances? Could a man so entangled in his own pursuits find a way back into the heart of his own town? The storm had revealed something crucial between them, an authenticity he couldn't ignore. They were fighting for something greater than themselves. With determination rising from the rubble, the stakes had never been higher. Could Jack rekindle the principles of hard work and community that he had cherished so dearly? Or had the storm simply laid bare the distances that threatened to tear them apart? Jack stood at the entrance of Emily's bakery, the door slightly ajar as the warm scent of bread enveloped him like an old familiar hug. The storm's chaos had carved a path of destruction through the heart of their community, but more importantly, it had carved a path straight into Jack's heart. After days of working alongside Emily and the townspeople, picking up the pieces from the wreckage, he found himself wanting to contribute more, to be more. "Hey, Jack," Emily called from behind the counter, her hands dusted with flour. There was a warmth in her voice that grounded him. "Just in time. I could use an extra pair of hands." He stepped inside, the little bell above the door chiming a welcome. The walls, adorned with photos of past celebrations, felt more alive than the glittering lights he had once deemed so significant. Jack reached for the dough, kneading it with shy determination. As he worked, Emily shared stories of their town, its quirks, its people, the triumphs and tragedies that knit them together. Each tale added a stitch to the fabric of what home had always been for him. "Why did you build that resort?" she asked softly, hesitating as if the question itself could shatter him. "I thought it would bring prosperity, create opportunities. I wanted to put this town back on the map," he replied, his voice surprisingly quiet. "But I guess I didn't realize it meant tearing apart what made this place special." Emily paused, looking him in the eyes with a mixture of kindness and resolution. You can't just put up glittering buildings and expect people to feel at home. It's about connection, Jack. That's what makes a place thrive. Her honesty hit him like a soft blow. Jack felt the weight of his mistakes, but for the first time, he felt a flicker of hope. As they molded bread, the rhythmic motion became almost cathartic, almost symbolic of rebuilding lives alongside one another. He began to see the bakery as more than a business. It was a gathering place, a sanctuary holding memories like flower in the air, light and airy, yet substantial. One evening, the staff gathered after closing to share stories of the storm's aftermath, laughter punctuated with shared concerns. Jack listened, absorbing the vibrant affinity these folks felt for one another, and he realized how deeply disconnected he had been. The thought made his heart ache, igniting an urgency within to mend the gaps he had widened. "We need a community dinner," he blurted out. Emily's eyebrows shot up, surprised. "What do you mean?" "A chance for everyone to come together, get to know each other again after the storm. A celebration of what we still have, of who we are," he explained fervently. She considered him with a thoughtful nod and a hint of a smile that lit her eyes, those warm, expressive eyes that had seen too much yet still sparkled with hope. "I can help with that." The remnants of their earlier struggles melted away, and for the first time, Jack felt skin-deep purpose. Could he really bring everyone back around the communal table? As plans unfolded, the excitement spread through the town like wildfire, bridging divides and healing old wounds. Neighbors who barely spoke started to share recipes, decorating ideas, and laughter resonated everywhere like music. Jack's newfound hope transformed into action as he rolled up his sleeves, determined to play his part. But amidst the growing anticipation, nagging self-doubt twisted in his gut. What if they resented him? What if Emily was right, and his past choices had forever altered their perception of him? As the sun began to set on the horizon, painting the sky in warm oranges and deep purples, Jack stood outside the bakery, anxiety bubbling beneath his resolve. Could a simple dinner really heal what had been broken? The echoes of laughter and chatter drifting from inside offered him a sliver of reassurance, yet the question lingered like a heartbeat. As he stepped inside, ready to claim his space in the community he so desperately wanted back, little did he know that an unexpected voice would alter everything once more. As Jack walked into the bakery, the warmth crashed over him like a wave, and the laughter wrapped around him, inviting yet intimidating. He spotted familiar faces, old friends and neighbors who had once turned to have a laugh over a coffee. Now they mingled, hesitant smiles fluttering between them like butterflies. The buzz of conversation hummed in the air, lighting up the room with an electric energy. Jack's heart raced. Would they welcome him as easily as Emily had? "Jack! Come join us!" Carla, the cheerful town librarian, waved him over, her eyes shining. With each step, he felt the weight of their shared history pressing down. The memories of the resort proposal disappointment etched on their faces haunted him. He could almost hear the whispers of his failures echoing in the background. Sitting down, he forced a smile. "Hey everyone. It's great to see you all." But as he spoke, the sincerity of his words felt overshadowed by uncertainty. "I can't believe you're doing this," Carla exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. "A community dinner is just what we need. It's been tough." Yeah, another voice chimed in. "It's easy to forget how connected we all used to be." A collective murmur of agreement followed, and it filled Jack with a bittersweet warmth. They had waited for someone to reach out, and here he was. But then a shadow crossed over the table. "You think you can just stroll back in here, fix everything?" It was Craig, a longtime fisherman who had lost much in the storm. His eyes were piercing, filled with a mixture of anger and hurt. "You think this dinner makes it all okay?" Jack's pulse quickened. The weight of Craig's words hung in the air like a storm cloud threatening to burst. "I know I can't fix everything. I just want to help bring us together again," he stuttered, grappling for the right words. "I've done a lot wrong. This town deserves better." A moment passed, thick with unsaid thoughts. Jack's heart raced as he observed the flicker of doubt in the faces around the table. What could he say to soothe them? Then Emily spoke, her gentle voice cutting through the tension like a ray of sunlight. Jack is right. We're all still here, and we need to see what we can rebuild together, she said, her gaze steady on Jack before sweeping across the table. Yes, not asking for forgiveness. Just an opportunity. Some heads nodded, while others remained skeptical. Yet, the air shifted slightly, as if the possibility of acceptance, however fragile, was taking root. Let us just see what happens, Carla added, a glimmer of hope shining in her eyes. Food brings people together, after all. As the conversation swirled again, Jack felt a little lighter. The night moved on, laughter gradually covering the wounds still fresh from the storm. He watched Emily weave between tables, her spirit infectious and resilient, and he suddenly realized how much he had been missing: a sense of belonging, the simple joy of community. But as the evening progressed, another unexpected voice broke through the clamor, this time from the back of the room, one he had not heard in years. "Is that you, Jack?" The voice was low, yet unmistakable. He turned slowly, a chill running down his spine as he recognized the figure stepping into the light. It was someone he thought he'd never see again. Suddenly, all the warmth in the room felt distant. What if this voice carried with it all the questions he feared most? Would it send everything crashing down again? Jack's heart raced as anticipation hung thick with uncertainty. He could not ignore the weight of this moment. Was he ready for the truth of their past to surface once more? Jack's breath caught in his throat. Only one person could draw such a reaction from him. He hadn't spoken her name in years, and yet here she stood. Mia. Her blonde hair glimmered under the bakery's soft lights, and her expression was a mix of shock and something else: disappointment. Anger? He couldn't quite tell. Jack, she repeated, a hint of incredulity coloring her voice. Was she surprised he was back? Or maybe shocked he had the audacity to show up in a place filled with people? "Hi, Mia," he stammered, the room suddenly feeling much smaller. The jubilant conversations faded into mere murmurs as if the joyful atmosphere had been sucked out, leaving only tension and dread in its wake. Mia stepped closer, her eyes narrowing slightly. "So, you're back in town? What do you think you can just make it all better?" The words dripped with bitterness, and with each syllable, Jack felt the weight of his past crashing down on him. "I want to help," he managed, clenching his hands in his lap as the warmth of the room felt distant. "I know I have no right to ask for anything after everything that happened." Her gaze softened for a split second, just enough to remind him of the warmth they once shared, but it quickly hardened again. "You don't get to play hero now. You left when we needed you the most." The hurt in her words was palpable, and it cut deeper than any storm ever could. He could feel the eyes of the townsfolk shifting towards them, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and discomfort. The friendly chatter faded as they began to witness the confrontation unfold. "I know," Jack said, his voice rising slightly, desperation creeping in. "And I'll never take that back. But I'm here now. I'm trying to fix what I can." Mia shook her head, a small laugh escaping her lips, bitter and hollow. "Fixing things? Do you think it's that simple?" She glanced around the room, making eye contact with some familiar faces, perhaps looking for their support, validation of her feelings, or even just an escape. Craig chimed in from the back of the crowd. "She's right, Jack. It's not fair to waltz in here and expect us all to just forgive and forget. You left a lot of pain behind." He could feel it all closing in on him, the weight of the past and the judgment of the present. Did they think he had come to fix things for them, or was it himself he was trying to save? "I know I don't deserve it," Jack began again, his voice trembling. "But I'm asking for a chance. Not to erase the past, but to move forward. I want to help start a new chapter for us, together, as a community." Mia's expression softened ever so slightly, but doubt still clouded her eyes. "You think a dinner will erase the years? The hurt?" Her voice wavered, and for a moment, it felt like they were two old friends sharing a moment of raw honesty instead of adversaries in pain. "I don't expect it to erase anything," Jack replied, vulnerability creeping through. "But it could be a beginning. Something to help us connect again, to remind us why we are here together." The room held its breath, waiting for her response. Jack's heart hammered in his chest, a mix of hope and fear sparking in him. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she just nodded slowly, but he couldn't read her expression. The tension hung in the air like a mist, thick and indecipherable. And then, unexpectedly, Emily stepped in, her calm demeanor breaking the silence. Let us not let just one voice define this night. We all have a say here, don't we? Jack glanced around the room, searching the faces that had once been so familiar. Would they rally behind him? Would they stand up for the community they once cherished, or would the past hold them hostage forever? The fate of the dinner, and perhaps of Jack's place in this community, hung in the balance. What do you all think? Emily asked, her voice echoing through the thick atmosphere. Jack's heart pounded as he waited for their response. Would they take a chance on him? Or was it too late for second chances? The silence pressed heavily around Jack as he searched the faces in the bakery. Each one seemed to echo the crumbling pieces of his past, casting back memories he desperately wanted to bury. Would they see him as a failed son returning from exile, or would they recognize the man who truly wanted to rebuild? Emily waited patiently, her gaze moving through the crowd, willing someone to speak. Finally, a woman in her 60s, hair silvered like the morning light, broke the stillness. I don't think it can all be fixed with a dinner. But sometimes it's the attempt that counts. Another voice chimed in from the corner. If Jack is here, he must have a reason. We don't know if he has changed unless we give him the chance. There was a cautious acceptance hanging in those words, like a first step taken on a very thin ice. Mia's eyes darted around the room, her expression flickering between defensiveness and a glimmer of hope. But what about the years of hurt? The promises broken? It's not that easy. Jack's heart raced. This was not just a dinner, this was a reckoning. I know it's not easy, he replied, keeping his voice steady as he stepped forward, feeling the weight of every gaze. But for the first time in years, I can finally see how much I miss all of you, how I miss home. If I mess up again, then I'll take the blame, just give me this chance to prove I can do better. The murmurs swelled, the air thickening with hesitation and curiosity. Jack caught bits of conversation, some nodding, others shaking their heads. Craig stepped closer, wearing a frown that seemed permanent. That's just it, Jack. You say you want to help, but what does that mean? You can't just come back and expect everything to be okay. I'm not asking for everything to be okay, Jack insisted, desperation bleeding into his words. But I do want to help. I want to rebuild what I contributed to breaking. We all have wounds, mine just happened to come from my own choices. I can take the first steps if you guys let me. Mia's fierce gaze settled on him, and for a moment, Jack thought he saw a flicker of consideration. But then she turned back to the others, her strong facade slipping. What if he is just here to make himself feel better? What if he just wants the easy way out? Her skepticism hung like a weight, testing Jack's resolve. I might be scared, Jack said, letting a piece of his vulnerability slip free. But it's not about me. It's about all of us. If it's one thing I learned while being away, it's that running doesn't fix anything. I want to be here, together again. A long quiet stretched out as every heart in the room processed the plea. Just when the tension felt unbearable, a voice from the back spoke up, a teenage girl, the daughter of one of Jack's old friends. My dad said that sometimes people make mistakes and they can still change. If that's real, then why not give him a chance? Jack looked toward her, a wave of gratitude washing over him. Her words sparked a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, people were ready to move past their pain. It's a simple dinner, just one night, Emily said softly, trying to bridge the gaps that had formed. Maybe that's all that's needed to start. We can take it from there. Mia looked around, her expression shifting as she battled with her thoughts. Jack felt his heart flutter with cautious optimism, unsure how it would all end but desperate to hold on to that thread of possibility. So, what do you say? Finally, it was her gaze that sealed it, filled with unresolved emotions and a burgeoning flicker of hope. But as she opened her mouth to speak, the door swung open with a loud crash, freezing all eyes on the darkened figure that stood in its frame, a stranger with a familiar presence. What was he doing here? And how would his arrival change everything Jack had just fought for? The figure stepped into the bakery, the doors swinging shut behind him with a definitive thud. Jack's breath caught in his throat. It was Derek, an old friend turned well-known businessman. The last time Jack had seen him, they were young and carefree, running wild through the streets of their childhood. Now Derek's tailored suit and confident stride screamed success, a sharp contrast to the uncertainty Jack felt within himself. Derek spotted Jack first, his brow furrowing as the crowd turned to take in the unexpected arrival. "What's going on here?" he asked, sounding a bit too casual for the heaviness hanging in the air. "I heard there was talk of a dinner." Jack felt panic rise in his chest, but he forced a smile. "We're just catching up. You know, old friends." "Oh, really?" Derek stepped further into the room, his look lingering on Mia and Craig like he was scanning a battlefield for enemies. "I thought this was a family reunion of sorts." His eyes harbored a glint of mischief, one that immediately affected the atmosphere. Mia put her hands on her hips, a protective gesture. "And who are you, exactly, to bring up family?" "I'm just here to support my friend," Derek replied, shrugging as if genuine surprise colored his expression. "And it sounds like Jack could use a bit of backup." There was a murmur from the old neighbors, a mix of curiosity and judgment. Jack could feel the lines tightening. Derek was stirring the pot, and he wasn't sure how to react or what to say. "Backup?" Mia echoed, disbelief splashed across her features. "You think he needs you?" "The last time I checked, it was Jack who got himself into this mess." "Mia, wait," Jack called, looking helplessly between his friend and the burgeoning tension. "Oh, come on, Mia. How many years do you want to hold on to this?" Derek continued, smugness creeping into his voice. "People change, right? Isn't that what you just said?" Jack's insides churned with embarrassment and anger as the focus drifted back to him, awaiting his response. He could feel the room closing in, hearts curbing to crumple around the truth he had only begun to express. "Derek, this isn't helping," he said, struggling to keep his own emotions in check. "That's not what I want." Derek, unyielding and cocky, was not about to let up. "All I'm saying is, you've got a chance here, Jack. Don't get distracted. Take it." The words lingered in the air like dust motes suspended in sunlight. It was true, but not in the way Derek seemed to imply. Jack wanted everyone to see not just who he had been, but who he could become. Just then, Derek's phone buzzed loudly against the counter, breaking the tension. He glanced down, dismissing whatever message it was with a wave of his hand. "Anyway, I'll be around. Don't waste your time wallowing," he said, casually exiting as if the storm had never begun. The silence returned, sharper than it had been before, punctuating the absence Derek left behind. Mia leaned closer, her expression torn. "What just happened?" Jack's heart felt heavy, the echoes of doubt rising effortlessly within him. "I can't control what others think. But I can control what I do." Emily stepped in, her calm presence a balm. "Jack, it's okay. You've already taken the brave step to come back. Don't let anyone dictate your path." But the question still lingered. Had Derek's presence helped or hindered? Had he solidified Jack's resolve or cracked it? And would Mia ever soften enough to give Jack the chance he craved? As Jack searched their faces, the flicker of hope he had felt before now felt tentative, like a flame that might flicker out at any moment. With everything hanging in the air, one reality pierced through the haze. Change was not just about actions, it was about acceptance. And then, the haunting thought came, could he really change, or had he set himself up for yet another failure? The tension bounced back and forth, thick as the smell of baked bread. What would happen when the dinner finally came? Would it bring healing, or would it open old wounds? Jack felt like he was caught in a storm as the sudden silence engulfed him. The murmurs of the crowd faded, leaving only the cacophony of his own racing thoughts. Mia's gaze burned into him, demanding answers he wasn't sure he had. Her protective stance made Jack feel both grateful and frustrated. Couldn't she see beyond Derek's facade? Can we take a step back?" Jack said, running a hand through his hair, trying to find a foothold in this sinking feeling. I thought this dinner was about family, about healing. It was, until he showed up, Mia replied, her voice tinged with hurt. Does he really think he can just waltz back into your life and act like he is a hero? We both know it's not that simple. Jack nodded, knowing she was right. Derek's presence had turned everything upside down. He wanted to be accepted for who he was now, not just as someone connected to the man they used to know. But how could he convince them when even he felt lost? Emily stepped closer, her warmth a familiar comfort. This is your moment, Jack. Don't let Derek's antics overshadow what you want. You deserve to be here, to fight for your place in this family. Jack looked at her, feeling a flicker of hope relight in his chest. You're right. I did come here to make things right. I can't let Derek dictate that. Mia sighed heavily, the tension of years crinkling her brow. I just don't want to see you get hurt again. You've already been through so much. I know, Jack said quietly, feeling the weight of her concern. But I have to try. Not just for me, but for all of us. Suddenly, the door chimed again, and all heads turned. Jack's heart sank when he saw another familiar face, one that stirred old memories and raw emotions. It was Sarah, Derek's sister, and another piece of their complicated history. Jack! I didn't know you'd be here, she exclaimed, a bright smile breaking across her face, as if the shadows had been lifted. He felt a mix of relief and anxiety sweep over him. Sarah was a comfort from the past, yet she carried the echoes of everything that had happened. Would she come armed with new secrets? I'm back, Jack said, trying to sound confident as he stepped forward to embrace her. It's good to see you. This dinner is going to be unforgettable, she teased lightly, but her eyes showed concern as they skimmed across the room, lingering on Mia and Emily. More like a minefield, Mia muttered under her breath, earning a sharp look from Jack. Sarah, catching the tension, turned serious. I hope it's a good kind of unforgettable. We need that, don't we? Jack caught the way Sarah's smile faltered as she glanced towards the door, where Derek had just exited. He was here? She asked cautiously. Jack nodded, the surge of emotions crashing within him. He stirred the pot. But it's more than that. It's about us moving forward. Then let us do just that, Sarah said, determination coloring her tone. Let us heal together. As they settled back into their conversation, Jack looked around the room. Old faces blended with new ones, each person carrying fragments of memories both cherished and painful. He was filled with a sense of responsibility and need to bridge the past and present, to illuminate the path ahead. As the scent of baked goods wafted around them, it struck Jack that they were all here, sharing this moment. Perhaps this dinner could change everything, if only they all allowed it. But just as he felt a glimmer of hope, the silence was shattered again, this time with the sound of raised voices outside. Jack's stomach twisted in knots. What now? The tension returned, heavier than ever. Would this be the moment they shattered the ice, or merely a signal of things unraveling further? He could only wait and wonder. Jack's heart began to race as the shouting escalated outside. He could feel each pulse in his temples, the room too quiet, too charged. Mia's eyes darted toward the door, mirroring his concern, and Emily squeezed his arm as if to anchor him. Do you think it's? Emily began but didn't finish. The question hung thick in the air. I don't know, Jack admitted. The last thing he wanted was for the family dinner to unravel into chaos. He took a breath, calming himself like his dad used to teach him before big games. We should check it out. Mia nodded, and together with Emily and Sarah, they stepped into a hallway, the four of them forming a tight bond in the face of uncertainty. As they approached, the voices grew clearer. It was Derek, his deep voice booming with an intensity that sent chills down Jack's spine. I'm telling you, I wouldn't let that happen again. Not to my family. Jack exchanged worried glances with Mia before pushing the door open fully. There he was, Derek, brimming with bravado but with an undertone of something Jack couldn't quite place. Standing in front of Derek was one of the family friends, Mike, who had a reputation for being loud but kind-hearted. You can't just act like a bulldozer in here, Derek. People are trying to heal. Can't you see that? Mike's voice cracked, showcasing his frustration. The tension wrapped around them like a thick fog. Suddenly, all eyes turned to Jack, and he felt every gaze probing him, as if expecting him to take a stand. What's going on? Jack asked, stepping forward. He held his breath, preparing for Derek's inevitable retort. Derek's face twisted in surprise, then hardened. Jack, this is family business. Just stay out of it. Family business? Jack echoed, disbelief flooding his voice. This involves all of us. It's about healing, like we talked about. You need to respect that. Mike's expression shifted, a flicker of hope shining through. See? Even Jack gets it. Derek opened his mouth to respond, but a cracking tension had built in the air. He was cornered, and they all sensed it. Maybe, just maybe, this was the moment Jack needed, the moment where they could finally shift the narrative. Derek's face darkened, and he took a step forward. You really think you can show up, play the hero, and change everything? You don't know what you're dealing with. Maybe I don't. But you need to let us all in, Jack shot back, feeling a surge coursing through him as he spoke. We can't keep pretending nothing happened. We need to face it together. We need to. But before he could finish, Derek exploded with frustration. You think you can just waltz into this family after everything? You don't belong here. The air thickened with silence, the weight of Derek's words crashing down as everyone recoiled. Jack felt his heart drop, the sting of rejection seeping into the atmosphere like a dark ink cloud. He stepped back, vulnerability washing over him. Mia stepped forward in solidarity, her voice steady but firm. Derek, that's enough. You don't get to decide who belongs. We all do, or none of us do. Don't talk to me like that, he bellowed. Sarah, her expression shifting in determination, looked at Jack. This is your chance to stand your ground. You wanted to heal, so let us take one step closer. Together. Jack turned, meeting Sarah's encouraging gaze. He could feel the power surging within him. This was it. A moment when he could redefine everything, leverage all their hurt into something transformative. But then, the door behind them creaked again, and the atmosphere shifted once more. There was another figure stepping into the doorway, someone Jack never expected to see. His breath caught in his throat as he recognized the familiar face, one that held the answer to questions he hadn't even thought to ask. What could they possibly have to discuss now? Jack's eyes widened as he took in the figure standing in the doorway. It was his uncle, Sam. The last time he saw Sam, the man had been an enigma, part family, part stranger. But now, the palpable tension filling the room shifted slightly, as if fate had chosen this precise moment for a revelation. What are you doing here? Derek's voice broke the moment's energy like glass shattering on a hard floor. He wore a look that was a mixture of disbelief and irritation. Sam stepped inside, his presence commanding the room despite the storm brewing just moments before. His face, lined with years of weathering life's storms, softened slightly as he met Jack's gaze. I heard about what's been happening, he said, his voice weathered but steady. I thought I'd check in on everyone. Jack felt warmth flood through him. Maybe Uncle Sam could help bridge the gap. This was exactly what they needed, a voice of experience, someone who had weathered his own share of storms. This is between us, Sam, Derek barked, his tone sharp. You know that. It shouldn't be, Sam replied firmly, taking a step closer. His expression shifted, becoming more intense. Family isn't just about blood. It's about being there. It's about healing together. You should know that best. At that, a heavy silence fell again. Jack could feel the tension in the air, but there was something undeniable about Sam's presence. Perhaps he could shed light on their darkness. Mike chimed in, we need more voices. More understanding. We've been standing still for too long. Jack, emboldened by the support, took a deep breath. Exactly. Sam, we're at a breaking point. Maybe you have some insight that could help us all find a way through? He didn't mean to put Sam on the spot, but urgency surged through him. They needed direction. Sam inhaled deeply, gathering his thoughts. I've made my share of mistakes, he started, glancing at Derek. Mistakes that kept me away from family when I needed to be there. I understand that hurt. I've felt it. Derek squirmed, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. It was brief, but Jack, didn't he miss it? Maybe what you've been through the past can bind us or set us free, Sam continued, his voice rising with passion. It's a choice. You can cling to anger, or you can let it go and find healing. But it means letting others in, no matter how hard it feels. Jack could see it in the eyes of his family. There was a hesitance, a flicker of longing for change, even from Derek. The room shifted ever so slightly, like a compass adjusting toward a true north. Mia stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. Change isn't easy. It's scary, she said, her voice soft yet powerful. But maybe that's what we need. A chance to face what we've been avoiding. Maybe we could at least try, Emily added hesitantly, glancing at Jack as if to reaffirm their unity. Derek's brows knitted together, caught between stubbornness and a burgeoning willingness to shift his rigid stance. So what are you suggesting? He asked, his tone softer now. Sam took another steadying breath. Let us work through this together. Let us talk about the things buried beneath the surface. They won't vanish on their own. But if we face them together, perhaps we can find a way. Jack's heart raced as he felt the heavy air surrounding them shift again. There was a chance for connection, for healing, even amidst all the pain. But just as hope flickered to life, the door creaked open again, drawing everyone's attention. This time it was a woman Jack didn't recognize, but her expression was filled with something he couldn't quite place. Was it fear? Urgency? Have you seen my brother? She called out, panic tearing at her voice. Jack's heart sank. Who was this? What did she want? What had just erupted around them was about to grow even more complicated. The woman stepped into the bakery, her face pale and terrified. Please, my brother, he's missing, and I can't find him. He went to check on our house after the storm, and I haven't heard from him since. The room erupted into chaos. Derek's bravado disappeared, replaced by concern. Mia's protective instincts kicked and she rushed over to the woman, urgency lighting her eyes. What's your brother's name? Jason, the woman gasped, her voice trembling. He was helping to clear debris near the old mill. Jack's heart hammered in his chest. He knew that area. It was dangerous. We need to go look for him, he said, the tension of the moment igniting into action. Right now, Mia insisted, her determination shining through. She turned to Jack, grasping his arm. We can't waste time. Let us go. With no hesitation, Jack nodded. Sarah, can you stay here and help organize a search party? Of course, she replied, her focus already turning to the others. What about us? Derek, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. The tension in his expression revealed a flicker of regret. I can help too. Everyone was moving now, an urgent electricity filling the air. They weren't just a fractured community anymore, they were a team in crisis. Jack looked at Emily, who nodded. They were all in this together. As they rushed outside, Jack led the way, adrenaline surging through him. The streets, once filled with memories of laughter, now bore the scars of the storm, debris littering the ground like remnants of their past. Every footfall echoed the importance of their mission. They needed to find Jason before it was too late. They reached the old mill, the wind howling around them. Did you see which direction he went? Jack pressed the woman, his heart racing. Over there, she pointed, anxiety etched across her face. Her eyes glimmered with worry, pushing Jack forward. Without hesitation, Jack sprinted toward the thickets, Mia and Derek close behind. Jason! Jack called, his voice cutting through the tension. Jason! Derek echoed, adding his strength to the call. They plunged deeper into the woods, calling out for Jason, anxiety tightening the air. There were moments of silence that felt unbearable, hanging like a storm cloud between breaths. But then, a sound pierced through an echo of something not right. Suddenly, from the thicket, they heard a faint voice, soft, distressed. "Help me please," it was Jason. Rushing forward, they pushed aside the branches, revealing him trapped at the base of a fallen tree. Relief and alarm coursed through Jack as he met Jason's frightened eyes. "Hang on! We're coming!" With determination, they worked together, pulling branches and debris, Mia's voice steadying Jason. "You're going to be okay. We've got you." Finally, Jack felt him shift free. As they pulled him out, Jack caught the glimmer of gratitude in Jason's gaze. "Thank you," Jason murmured, pain mixed with relief. Jack looked around, realizing how their little act of coming together had not just saved Jason but had begun to heal them all. The moment shared lives connected by fear and courage reminded Jack of the bonds he had nearly lost. This was family. This was home. As they made their way back, the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of hope. People were waiting. Their looks told stories of unity breaking through lingering skepticism. Jack turned to Derek, who had stayed by his side throughout the chaos. "Maybe we need more moments like this," he offered, feeling lighter. "Maybe we do," Derek replied, the hardness in his tone now softening. Mia smiled, glancing up at Jack. "Tonight's dinner, it might not be easy. But we can do it." Jack nodded. Together. The drive to recover what they had lost was becoming clearer. As they walked side by side, the bonds among them strengthened, the scars of the past could begin to fade into shared stories of triumph and renewal. As the day turned to dusk and camaraderie filled the air, Jack felt a renewed sense of purpose wash over him. He could finally be part of something bigger than himself. Resilience, community, and hope were mingling in the warmth of their shared experiences. This was their moment, their true transformation was beginning. And as if a grand finale were upon them, Jack turned to face the group, his heart full of determination. "Let us get ready for that dinner. It's time to celebrate our recovery, together." Together they would forge a brighter future, one where everyone belonged, and no one would be left behind. Now was the time to act and the time to uplift one another united. And you, dear viewer, if you've felt the spark of community here, don't hold back, subscribe immediately. You need to subscribe now, don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because this is the moment to show your support for authentic connections. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming ending, share your thoughts about transformation, and what it means to come together. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. It could change their lives. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the power of connection and the importance of supporting our channel through these actions. Let us keep the community alive,